Okay, so my E30 project is about to get all the love it deserves. Yes, I know, it's been like 9 months since the last video. I previously mentioned no one watched the E30 episodes, which is why I ultimately decided to put most of my focus on my other BMWs. Well, here's a plot twist. The last video received 90,000 views, and since then I've received daily messages about a follow-up video. Well, here we go. Let's continue where we left off. In the previous episode, I announced that it will be getting an S52 engine swap. Originally from an E36 M3, I think it's the perfect power plant for the E30. Easy to work on, plenty of documentation available online, and more than enough power for such a light chassis. We pulled the blown M20 engine and attempted to clean the engine bay. Now it's time to get things ready for the engine swap, and even though the outside of the car has seen better days, I wanted the engine bay to look amazing. I wanted to do it the right way, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Today we're just going to go ahead and prep the engine, clean it up, shave some things, remove things like the brake booster, some of these lines, shave off a lot of these brackets that we won't need to give it a cleaner look, and then we're going to get ready for that engine to go in there. For those of you guys that are tuning in for the first time, we're actually going to put a S52 with ITBs into the engine and hopefully make around 300 horsepower to the wheel, which is insane for such a small car. I'm very excited to do that. I'm very excited to actually drive this car for the very first time. Underneath the hood, it's just going to look like a masterpiece. As far as the exterior, we're not really going to touch. Plan to have a little bit of fun with this car first, get used to the power, and then afterwards we'll focus on the exterior. The interior is pretty much done. For those of you guys that never really watched the earlier episodes, you know, I redid the entire interior. I actually have a custom steering wheel for Mazda Auto Wheel, but it's inside of the shop. Non-cracked dashboard. The carpets were completely reconditioned, and then the seats were reupholstered. And then, yes, I know I took this off because we got to redo the headliner, and then I do got quite a bit of rust that needs to be taken care of here on the top. I definitely want to take care of certain stuff like the surface rust that's on here. It's nothing major. I want to be able to stop the spread before it gets any worse. We have some over here as well, and then some right here, which we should be able to take care of no problem. Cleaning out the engine bay, not the most enjoyable thing to do. Removing the brake booster, cutting off old metal lines and brackets ultimately would create more room, not only for the engine swap itself, but also to do bodywork. Many of the parts that were removed were either in terrible shape or would be replaced altogether. The directions were easy. Remove almost everything. We have lots of the, heat shield rubber stuff that was pretty much crumbling, so we took care of all of that. Removed this one. This one's gonna get painted. The rest are pretty much trash. Here's what the engine bay looks like now. Looks a lot cleaner. Here's something that Ali was working on already. So the E30, the earlier models, have this very weird coating over where, I guess, where they weld the body together. I'm not entirely sure why it's so hideous, but I guess this was their way of doing that back in the day. If you look at the other E30 that's here, they also have some of that, but it's not quite as noticeable. But this is like a later model E30. They made it look a lot classier and prettier than the one on mine in 1989. So we're gonna shave all these brackets, all these studs, make it look extremely clean, and then after we do that, then we'll remove this hideous looking coating. We're making progress. It takes some time. I'm excited. I think it's gonna look very good. We aren't pros by any means, but with a little bit of passion and common sense, we figured we can save some money and attempt to restore this engine bay ourselves. Again, all the brackets we didn't need, random studs and small imperfections, were going to receive the shave treatment. The biggest takeaway was that the seam sealer was a pain to remove. Of course, there are different ways of removing it, but regardless, you'd make a mess. We started off by just using a wire brush attachment to get most of it off, and eventually we'd burn the remainder when it was time to do some welding. Time, patience, and determination is all it takes. While this might not be the most efficient way to clean and shave an engine bay, it worked for me, and honestly, it's all a learning experience. I mean, that's why I have you guys to school me in the comments. All right, guys, so before and after. Obviously not the finished product, but that's a process that's gonna happen. A lot of this could get bonded before we actually send it out to paint, but essentially, just look at the brackets that were eliminated on this side. Right here, a couple of the studs and stuff like that. We still got a little bit more to work with, but anyways, you guys get the idea. We'll work on the rest of the car. This is a dirty job, extremely dirty job. So here's what I've done. I've shaved most of the surface here. I did remove some of the brackets here. So I just gotta shave it some more, make it smooth, seam filler, removed most of it. A lot of it's hard to reach, so I'm gonna have to get something else for that. This is a pain to remove. One, because it's just all over the place, and two, once you take it off, like with the wire brush that I'm using, it just, particles are everywhere. Just look at the car. Everything's covered in this seam filler. Even with safety glasses, this stuff has gotten in my eyes, and I've had to do like an emergency stop at the restroom and rinse my eyes. It would probably be ideal to use goggles for stuff like this. But anyways, I'm just gonna touch up everything else. I did kind of go over this side as well. It's starting to look very good, and I think that the result is going to be amazing. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the rest, but off camera, and I'll see you guys when that's done. Now it was time for welding. Not only did I want to reinforce some of the weak points around the fenders, but also wanted to get rid of most of the holes and distractions in the engine bay. Easiest way to do that was to add some metal plates. We first cut out some pieces out of cardboard and planned accordingly. This would make things much easier and predictable when it was time to weld. I reached out to my good friend Nick, which has been doing fabrication work for a very long time. This guy is the real deal. I figured if someone could bring what I envisioned to real life, it would be this guy. He tackled the remainder of the seam sealer by using both a wire brush attachment and fire to burn off the hard to reach areas. It's super important that all of it was gone so he can properly weld the plates and reinforce the body. So Nick already did pretty much everything he's gonna do here today. Only thing we got to do is add some seam sealer to make it look really nice and smooth, and then of course we have other steps to do, like putting Bondo, sanding it down really smooth, and pinning the engine bay. But yeah, it looks pretty good. Seams here were welded as well to add more structural rigidity. This is one of the weak points of the E30, right here and right here. Another day we'll probably tackle the outside edges here as well, since we didn't get to that today. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. The final product is gonna look amazing for sure. So there's so much that has happened behind the scenes. We've been working at E30, but we didn't record most of the stuff that you guys see right here. Front bumper taken off, fender removed as well, retouched this side here is pretty smooth, sanded down just a little bit, and it's pretty much ready for paint. Removed some of the stuff here, AC lines and whatever other stuff that was there. Try to clean up as much of that surface rust as we possibly could. This side still needs to be touched up a little bit so it can be smoother. And yeah, a lot of small stuff that we needed both hands, and I didn't feel like filming the video because it would take like 10 times longer, to be honest. Also, the original plan was to get like some spray cans and do this ourselves, but I figured since we've put so much time into the engine bay, just do it the right way, and I'll take it to a body shop to do it, you know, to do a pretty good job on it. And then as far as the car being taken apart, it has been hurting my soul, I'm not gonna lie. You know, originally this car was supposed to be like an OEM Plus, look like stock, but pretty fast. And, you know, some tasteful mods, but I just don't think this is a good example to be that OEM Plus car, and I think I'll be looking for another E30. This one will end up being like the mess around car. The car I learned how to drift in, the car that if for whatever reason I crash or damage, I don't feel too bad about it. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. As much as it pains me to take that direction with this car, I think that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. If you guys think that's a good decision, let me know in the comment section. And if you guys are upset about it, also let me know in the comment section, because I think that's what's gonna happen. Drift build. It only took, us 9 months to give you guys an update, but it definitely was worth the wait. As you guys can see, the engine bay looks really good. Obviously, the outside of the car still looks like crap, but that's okay. As long as the engine bay looks good with the S52 swap, that's fine. The color choice pretty much came down to this strut tower brace that we have. We have it for the rear of the car, the trunk, and the front as well. Decided to match it. It's almost like a Nardo gray-ish in a way, and I really like that it's light, so the engine should pop, especially if we do it the right way with the wire tuck and stuff like that. And it's not anything like white where you have to clean it all the time. I think this color is a very good option. Here's the S52. It's getting a little bit of treatment before we put it in, because we have an engine bay that looks that good. If you notice on this side, use the wire brush to clean it up and get all the old, surface rust off of it, and we painted it with this high temperature paint. Obviously the valve cover is going to need a little bit of work. We might actually replace it, but yeah, I think it's going to be really cool, and you guys are going to have to stick around like you guys did last time, but hopefully I won't get you guys to wait 9 months. If you guys watch this video and there's plenty of engagement, I might start uploading maybe a video on the E30 each week, but I need you guys to support the E30 build either by watching, which is the biggest thing, or even going to my website and purchasing an E30 shirt, which I just recently came out with. So in the next video we'll have, well, I need to buy some parts first, but we'll attempt to install the S52 onto the E30 and hopefully start it up in the same video. So yeah, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button before you guys leave, and as always, thanks for watching. Until next time.